aircraft that formed the backbone of the RAAF's operations in the Pacific Theatre and has been flown by many, many nations across the world in every theatre of operations. From Russia, China, Burma, India Theatre, the Mediterranean and the Pacific. P-40 was designed by Curtiss Aircraft, and it was actually a modification of another Curtiss design, the Curtiss P-36 or the Hawk. Now that aircraft was powered by a radial engine, same as in a DC-3, and developed about 1,200 horsepower, but that was at the limit of its design. So when the advent of the Allison V12 came out, 1710 cubic inch V12, they picked one of these aircraft off the line and took the radial engine out and refitted with an Allison. The V12 was much slimmer but certainly longer, and in the early models a very thin fuselage. It still had the oil cooler and radiators under the chin of the aircraft, but nowhere near as deep as this. The RAAF and RAF flew these aircraft in the early stages of the Mediterranean campaign, and they were called the Tomahawk. To the Americans, they were just called the P-40 B and C model. Some of our famous Australian aces actually flew these aircraft. Bobby Gibbs in particular, he was operational on Tomahawks in the eastern Middle East and had a particularly memorable attack against the Vichy French base at Rabat. Later models had an enlarged radiator and air cooler area under the nose, like you see here. Armament increased from 4 to 6 50 caliber machine guns. The machine guns that were on the top of the cowling were taken away and put in the wings. And the aircraft could also carry bombs. It could carry 3, one under the centre fuselage and one under each wing. There was a lightweight version, or 2 lightweight models, powered by the Rolls-Royce Merlin, but mostly by the Allison V12. We had over 700 Kittyhawks that operated with the RAAF in the Pacific, and some of our most famous names during World War II flew the type. Clive Cornwell is the highest scoring ace flying Kittyhawks of any pilot of any nation. He actually was credited with 20 and a half victories, but it should have been 21 and a half because he actually did shoot down an Italian bomber but had no witnesses and no gun camera film. But that was confirmed post-war. He said many aces flew this. Jeff Christian at the Royal New Zealand Air Force flying the number 14 squadron, the Wairarapa Wildcat. He was an ace up in the Solomon Islands area. Robert DeHaven from the 49th Fighter Group flying in New Guinea, the US Army Air Force. And even pilots like Nikolai Kuznetsov flying with the Russians. Truscott, also a household name here in Australia, flew the P-40. It was 75 and 76 squadrons that actually fought at Milne Bay, and it was those that helped defeat the Japanese forces for the first time, not only in the war, but in the history of Japanese army operations. Paul is just heading the aircraft back now to Maitland. And what we are waiting for now is the F-35.